Hello, everybody. My name is DeGandhi Harris, she, her pronouns, and I'm so very happy to see you on this sunny Sunday afternoon. Richard?
Hi there, and I'm Richard Guerrero with Scale Evolution, and thank you for taking your time out of your holiday weekend to join us, and hopefully you'll get a lot of good information about ChatGPT.
Cool. So just really quick, how many people have experienced or utilized ChatGPT since its inception? Just kind of want to get a feel for the people in the room because I don't want people to feel like they're either being talked down to or talked up to. Okay. And then how many of the people that are attending, this is their first time hearing anything about ChatGPT besides what's being said in the news? First time that they're looking at it or anything like that. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. All right. Well, essentially, we are just helping folks understand what AI is and how it can be utilized. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about what ChatGPT is. Let's see if I can share my screen. How do I share the widgets? That's one of the things I've had a problem with. Can you see my widget right now?
So what I'm looking at is a slide that says most people think ChatGPT is magic.
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So what Richard just said. Sometimes people think Chat GPT is magic, but it's not necessarily magic. It's a tool. It's been created off of what we call predictive texting, predictive um, patterning. They think of someone taking all of the books and all of the information that's on the internet and on Google, and like having all of that database inside their brain. Essentially, that's what Chat GPT is. It takes all of that information and it's like, okay, if I have questions about how Rome was created, it will give me the information that has either been downloaded from a book or what's been found on Google. It can get things wrong sometimes, but for the most part, it is just a bunch of data and information. Um, and with ChatGPT, just like Google, how it changed, we looked at searches. AI, specifically ChatGPT at this point, is changing how we think, how we create, how we organize, and how we work with each other and communicate with each other on teams, business to client, all of that. Just keep in mind the one through line in this workshop today is that you don't have to know everything about AI. You don't even have to know everything about ChatGPT, but know enough to make an informed decision because people who understand AI are the people that are going to be able to help change how work looks for the next decade. Um, just a small thing about the AI timeline. It really started back in 2022 when ChatGPT started. Um, I'm trying to decide if I want to go further back. Okay, so Alan Turing is the godfather of AI. He had a question: can computers learn? Can they understand language? Can they talk? And because language is contextual, the dialects are different, the meanings can be different, it was very hard for a machine to understand language. And so you had to input the information and tell the computer what that information was in order for it to understand language. About 50 years of that, from 19 like 50s until like the early 2000s, mid 2010, 2017, people have been teaching AI what to do and how to understand and how to internalize language and all different dialects, right? It's been learning for the last 50 to 60 years. Then OpenAI kind of burst onto the scene November 2022 and was like, This is what AI in our iteration, in our lifetime is. And it exploded. Everybody wanted to get a piece of it. Um, AI is now integrated in our emails, our search engines, our telephones, customer service. We have AI bots who can actually take customer service calls and help folks get to where they need to go without an actual human being there. Although there are human beings on the back end to make sure that if it's working right or not working right, or if you're not getting what you need, there's a person there that can help you on the back end. AI has been integrated into how we do marketing and education. I have firsthand knowledge of that because I work at a college, and in healthcare, and even video creation. Think about all of the ways that AI slop is all over your social media and even in the commercials that are on television, right? Our political realm. And AI has also been integrated in music and different types of designing and meeting notes, and has also helped people with accessibility, like with screen readers and stuff like that. But the real question is, how do we use AI safely without creating all of the chaos? That's where I feel like a lot of the real conversation begins. Richard, before I go any further, what could you add to how AI has been integrated?
Well, I think a lot of people worry that AI is going to take over the world. And I was just listening to a podcast this morning talking about how, just like in politics, this on the subject of AI, everybody's polarized. Half the people believe that AI is going to take over the world and is going to steal our jobs away, and the other half believe that AI is, going to change the world, that it's going to be smarter than human beings, and this utopia in the future where we don't have to do anything because we'll have AI, bots, running around doing the work for us. And the reality is, neither is true. The fact is, it's somewhere in the middle. Now, yes, right now we're seeing a lot of the sky is falling because Amazon's laying off thousands of people because they can do it with AI, and big companies are downsizing their employees because AI is helping them do things. But that's just the beginning of this change that's going to happen, this paradigm shift, if you will. Yes, AI is making those low level employees that really weren't doing much, those jobs are going to disappear because
More
AI
like
can do
entry level.
entry level. That's what I meant, entry level jobs. But the reality is, yes, AI is now creating more work, and there's still, the fact is, there needs to be a human in the middle. There has to be somebody managing what is spitting out of AI, making sure it's doing it correctly. And so there, in the next couple of years, we're going to see this huge demand for people who understand AI, for humans that understand what AI is, how it works, how the pieces fit together, and so forth. And that's where people need to be. If you're in the workforce, you need to understand AI, because the more you understand it, the more in demand you're going to be in the future. And people are missing that. They're missing that information. It's just like, computers when they first came out. Oh, computers are going to take jobs away. They did. But now look at computers. They're integrated into everything that we do. Heck, our cell phones are these computers. I mean, my cell phone is faster than, the first computer that I bought back in the 80s. So there's just going to be this shifting of, yes, jobs, workforce, but the sky isn't falling. AI is just changing the workplace. It's not going to destroy it. And I wanted to say that out loud while it was fresh in my head from this morning's topic. It's just, we're in the midst of a real change, and either you embrace that change, or unfortunately, those that don't are going to be left behind. So,
Yeah,
thank you for attending my
definitely.
TED Talk.
Well, and I was listening to something that said very similar. It's not that all of the jobs are going to be gone. It's how we do the jobs now. That's going to change significantly. I know that when people think of AI, sometimes they go automatically to robotics, right? And how AI is. Think about iRobot, right? How everybody in everybody's home had a robot that helped them, that talked with them, that helped them make their lives better. We're not there yet. We're absolutely not there yet. We can get there, but we want to get there with integrity. We want to get there with authenticity. And we definitely want to get there without the bias and with the ethics embedded in, right? Um,
Right. So I'm going to say something that's going to take us off base, but it is something that, again, I heard this morning and it's very real because it's real to me. We're at a place now where, you can have your bot that does your financials. You have a bot that does your customer service. You have a bot that, writes your reports for your company. And they're already there. They're in place. And you feed your bots the work that you want done. But here's the thing, unlike a human being, an actual worker that just comes to work, punches in, and leaves 8 hours later or 10 hours later, so this bot is running 24/7. And so if you have enough money to pay for the AI, because AI isn't free, the bot runs 24/7. So we're in a situation now where it's constantly running, it's constantly working. And so it's this kind of like this infinity. The amount of work that it can do is infinity. It never stops. Unlike a human being who's like does a Word document or sends an email, so, okay, I'm done. A bot never says I'm done. A bot says what's next. And I run into this
yeah,
situation too, where all of a sudden I'm working on a workflow and I'm working on this, I'm working on that. And I'm like, oh, okay, I can do it better. I can do it better. I just need to feed it more and say, tweak this, tweak that, tweak. But when is good enough enough?
that part.
Because and I'm not, I'm being simplistic in saying, an email, when is perfect? When does it get to perfect? Because you can always tweak it. But when you're talking about a workflow and you're talking about work coming in and being digested and, input coming in and input, the input's there. As long as you keep feeding the bot, it's going to keep churning it, churning it. But at what point do you say, whoa, why are we creating this output? I mean, is it really getting us further? Or are we just creating more and more and more, well, noise? And so for me, I'm starting to get into that situation because my background in workflows and automation and where AI is today, it's just like I'm like a kid in a candy store. Oh, let's do that. Oh, let's do that. But the reality is, should I spend the time to do that? Do I really need to automate, how this comes in or automate how that goes out? At some point, again, a human in the middle needs to say, time out. That's great, but we don't need to do it.
Right. So let's talk about what ChatGPT can do before we get to the automations, before we get to the bots. Let's just boil it all down to its basis level. ChatGPT allows people to brainstorm faster. So you have a thought, you want to create copy for, let's say, one of your clients or a commercial or something like that. And your client says, I want it to have this element, I want it to have that element, I want it to look like my brand, and I want it to talk about how my business can help. You can put all of that information into ChatGPT and tell it where you want it to go. That's creating a prompt. That is bringing all of that information together in regular language. You don't have to be a coder in order to get the output. You just have to be very concise and succinct in what you want the outcome to be. It will give you ideas, it will give you outlines, it will help brainstorm the concept. And then it could even, if you decide you want to use AI, like ChatGPT allows really good images now over what it used to back in 2022, 2021. Um, and it can even help you create a shot list. It can help you create the images that your client might be looking for. It helps you save time. If you look in your emails, you will see specifically in Google, in Gmail, where it summarizes your emails. It can tell you what's in it, the key points, and it can look back at the previous emails that you had with that person and continue with the context, right? So you don't have to remember, oh, what did we talk about 2 months ago when maybe you only talk to this client every quarter? It can also help you organize information, keep that thread of that context going so you don't shoot off one way or the other. I know sometimes when I'm using ChatGPT, I'll ask it a question, and then using critical thinking, I'll ask it a deeper question. And then sometimes I might go down a rabbit hole asking it two more questions. And then I have to remember, hold on, this is the original that I wanted. And you can even sometimes program that into the threads or the chats that you're doing so that you don't go so far off on the tangents. But it has a way of expanding your mental of what it is that you're trying to get done. It can help with accessibility using simplified language. It can generate the captions, and it can also, ChatGPT can also translate into whatever languages that you want. Let's say your YouTube channel or your YouTube words video to say. Let's say you're speaking in English, but you want it to translate in Spanish so that you can reach a broader customer base. It can help you do with that. How have you used ChatGPT, Richard?
Sorry, I was muted. So in the past, I've used ChatGPT was my first LLM, and it took me a long time
You
to
have to
embrace
explain
it.
LLM.
Okay, sorry. Large language model, just like Claude is a large language model and Gemini has their large language model. It's just it's just a term, and I should it's too technical. I shouldn't have brought it up. So apologize. But it was my first uh touch into using AI. Now as a photographer, in different programs, AI was called auto select and auto tune for colors and exposures and contrast. It was auto. And in the beginning, AI was just, that was it. Auto, but a little bit deeper. So, anyways, getting back to ChatGPT, I started using it to create posts, create, for Facebook, create images. Um, it was fun, but I have to admit it was a little slow in the beginning. And I used just the free version, and within a few weeks, I was like, okay, I got to start paying for this because it kept timing out and it just stopped that creativity that when I was on a roll. But it helped me write emails, write responses to people, especially when it was a heated discussion. And I needed to take my emotions out of the discussion and just reply back factually, and that helped a lot.
I, I love how people do that when they're like, per my previous email, da
Yeah,
da da da, da, and then they take that and put it in ChatGPT and could you make this less accusatory
yeah, yeah,
and make it sound where I'm just spitting facts.
yeah.
That's dope.
T-
Um, Go ahead.
No, no, no. I agree with you. Take all my curse words out, and don't put any biblical references into the email I'm sending.
Well, and ChatGPT also has expanded learning and accessibility. For me, I have always gone with the mindset that AI it democratizes access to compute, computations, access to art and thought process. It also for business owners, right? Like when you're standing up a business, usually it takes what, 2 to 5 people to get not only to stand up a business, but then to keep it moving forward, right? I feel like AI has democratized that situation. So then that way you may not need a copy editor. You may not need a illustrator. You can utilize ChatGPT, you can utilize AI to do those things for you. I also feel like ChatGPT has allowed us to learn new skills. There's ChatGPT has Codex, which helps people to code. You may not understand the code on the back end, but using natural language, you can tell Codex what you want to code, what you want to create. Maybe you want to create an app. Maybe you want to create a video game. Maybe you want to tell your own story. And utilizing the back end of coding, you can create that for yourself. So you have access. It helps with budgeting. Maybe you want to put together a fashion show, which I will be helping do next month. And you need to put all of the information in there about all the stuff that you have to pay for and who needs to get paid and what that amount is. And it can go ahead and take all of that natural language that you're giving it and import it into an Excel spreadsheet for yourself. Business planning. There are different documents that are online that you can say, hey, I would like to create a business plan. What are the things that I need? This is a prompt. What are the things that I need to think about in order to make that happen? And it will do that for you. For some people, AI reduces barriers, which matters. For me, I have an ADHD brain. And I didn't realize it until I started talking with Chat about it when I finally talked to my doctor about it, that I've been using it like an external hard drive. I will have conversations with it, I will create things, and then I will have it download or upload to my Google Drive and then keep those documents. My issue is having to go back to those documents, but that's neither here nor there. That's a me thing. Um, ChatGPT has been able to help people simplify different language skills, generate captions. Like I said before, it helps translate information. And I asked some of the college kids how they've been utilizing AI. One person said they used it for their, uh, they helped them create flashcards. They're in the nursing program, which can be very demanding. And you need to make sure you know all of the bones in the body and the lymphatic system and the nervous system and all of those things. And they've been using ChatGPT to help them with flashcards to learn those things so that when they take the test, they're quicker on it, right? They can practice it whenever and wherever they have their phone to do so, instead of the little white note cards that sometimes spill out everywhere when you're holding them too tightly. Have you been using it to learn different things, Richard?
Yeah, actually, I was you really turned my light bulb on. One of the things I was using Chat GPT hard early on was tools. Let's give this example. Say you don't know how to use Adobe Photoshop very well, and you're stuck, and you're like, I just need to do, I just want to change the background, or I just want to do, I know it can be done, but I just don't know how to do it. So I would do a screenshot and upload it to ChatGPT and said, hey, I'm trying to do this. I want to blur the background. What do I need to do? And it would sometimes just tell me. Sometimes it would say, okay, well, wait, what, why, or not why? It wouldn't ask why, but it would say, are you trying to do this or are you trying to do this? It wanted to make sure it understood what I was asking, and then it would step me through. Or sometimes in, setting up QR codes or forms or you know, uh, here's a good example. This was just recently. I had to set up a reverse proxy. I didn't know what it was either, and you probably don't too. And so I was like, okay, how do I do this? Here's the web page that
I
tells
was
me
totally
what
getting
I'm
ready to
supposed to
ask.
do. It's what I'm supposed to do. It's for our new blogging system. But anyway, this is what it says I'm supposed to do. What the heck does that mean? And it would say, okay, expand on this point. And it would explain it to me. And sometimes it would explain it to me like a 3-year-old because that's what I needed to understand. And, so being able to take screenshots and say, I'm here, what's next? Or I'm here, you said to do this, where the F is that? And sometimes they come back, oh, that was on version 2. You're on version 3. They've moved it and da 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 da. So even the documentation for the vendor sometimes would be wrong. So learning software, learning terms. Like the other day, I had to look up a term that I didn't know, and it explained what that term was. You know, and ideas. Sometimes I'll feed it ideas and say, tell me why this is a good idea, and it might come back and say, no, you shouldn't do, no, don't do that for your business. Or and editing my emails, editing my code, editing my ideas. And I'll stop there because I've had too much coffee this afternoon.
So no worries. What's going to happen is we're going to talk about what ChatGPT cannot do. And then I'm going to turn it over to Richard to drive. So then that way he can show you utilizing ChatGPT, how he uses it in workflows, the different prompts to give it, stuff like that. So what ChatGPT cannot do, it does not know truth. I'm going to reiterate that again. It does not know truth. It can predict patterns, but that patterns are not always going to come out the same. Maybe 85% of the time, maybe even 99% of the time. It doesn't get nuance, okay? ChatGPT predicts language patterns, full stop. It can sound confident and still be wrong. So this is what they call hallucination. It's a very nice word of being like a liar or fake or whatever. Again, whenever people are like, how do I use ChatGPT? What do I do with it? I tell it, think of it as a 2 to 5 year old. Okay. During that time in a 2 to 5 year old's life, they're constantly asking why. They don't understand context, right? Um, for example, if a child is trying to touch a stove, you tell them it's hot. They don't understand what hot is, right? They want to still touch it. You tell them, no, it's hot. At some point, whether you let it happen or whether they go around you and still touch the stove, then they realize, ow, that hurts. They start crying, right? Then you help them associate, that's what I meant by it's hot. Don't touch it. So just like you teach a child, you must teach ChatGPT. You need to be able to teach it about who you are, what it is that you want, where that you're going. Sometimes it will get stuff wrong and you have to go back in and tell it it's being biased. Tell it where it's making up the statistics. Tell it when it gives you resources, you need to look at those resources, and sometimes it will give you a link to something that doesn't even exist. And you need to go back and tell it that is wrong. You must continually teach it. You cannot use these systems without human intervention. Okay, period. Um, it will misquote information. Sometimes it won't have the proper context of what you're asking it, and so you need to go in to give it that context. And sometimes it can create inaccurate summaries of different things. If you've ever looked at some of the Gmail summaries that it gave you, it can confidently say, this message is from so and so, and you guys were talking about this. Maybe you weren't talking about this, you just made a mention of something, but that's not the basis of the conversation. So it's not going to get it accurate all the time. You still need to give it, utilize your critical thinking skills, and you still need to challenge it. Uh, at the bottom, it gave me an example. If AI tells you Abraham Lincoln invented TikTok, please push back on that because we know that that is incorrect. Other things that ChatGPT cannot do, it cannot understand emotions like human. It can mimic empathy. That's all it can do. But it doesn't have lived experience. It doesn't have wisdom. There is no accountability. You must embed the accountability. You must, sometimes these models have been trained on different biases, like with the bias embedded. Maybe it says this thing about Black people, but that culture is not a monolith, right? Maybe that is 85% of the culture or 22% of the culture. You have to go back and forth with it and explain to it where it is incorrect and where it is correct. Please remember that it cannot replace therapists, mentors, or tutors. Lived experience, it cannot duplicate lived experience. It cannot replace human connection. It cannot replace the community that you build around itself. Only you can do that. Um, Please don't put any sensitive information in it when you're asking the question. I've always used this example. I have an adopted child who's going through court right now, and he could not at the time afford an attorney. So he took the legal documents, took screenshots, and then uploaded all of that information into ChatGPT, the free version. I'll get into that later about the free version and the paid version. But with the free version, well, all of the information, who's the defendant, who's the petitioner, who is the child that is being talked about, all of that information got uploaded because he didn't think to edit. Anything that you put inside of your ChatGPT, your Claude, any large language model or LLM, that information is out there on the internet and out there for anyone to grab hold of. So please be mindful of how you utilize confidential data. And it learns from human created internet data. So bias can appear in the outputs, bias can appear on the input, depending on what you're asking it to do. Use a thought process of how am I using this? Why am I using it this way? What do I want the outcome to be? And do I want it to, for instance, Amazon back in 2017 created an AI model that will look at different people's resumes and applications and decide if they're a good fit or if they should move on to the next level from whatever job they applied for. Problem was is they embedded bias into that by only uploading um, top tier, I guess, and I say that in air quotes, top tier applications of white men who went to Ivy League colleges and had engineer anywhere in their job titles. So anyone that was opposite of those things never got moved up to the next selection process. And they didn't realize this until they were about to get sued, the way that Workday is being sued right now, because the bias was already embedded into the platform that they created. No one red teamed it and decided to test it to see how these things could be, how the bias could be mitigated by asking questions. Well, what does cross applications look like? Maybe they weren't an engineer, but they did engineering type work. Maybe they did data analytics type work for a community college instead of working at a um, tech job, right? So all of those things were filtered out based off of the training data that they use. So you really want to think about stuff like that when you're looking for outputs and looking to put information into your chat GPT and how you're going to use it. Does anyone have any questions so far? I'm going to pop over to the chat to see if there's anything. Okay. All right, so essentially that's what I had to share about ChatGPT so that we could all have like a baseline of how to utilize this large language model. What would you like to add, Richard? I can't hear you if you're using words.
Sorry about that. I'm just getting a few things ready here. And I think this is daily. Okay. So I don't want to share too much here, or I shouldn't say share, but overwhelm people. So let's do something live. Let's see. Let me log on to ChatGPT.
And if anyone has anything that they would like us to red team here in this space, like put it in the chat. Let us know if there's something that you have questions about or would like to see done.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen now. Let's share a window. Let's share, yeah, meeting is going to look weird for a second. I apologize. Okay. So, here's something I did before and we'll do it again. So, let's say we have this URL. Let me put this in here. Da, 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 da. So we're reading things, right? And we're going through and we come across this great article. Okay. Uh, ads, ads, ads. Okay. AI wants to make you happy, even if it has to bend the truth. And this is pretty accurate. Now, this is kind of an old story. It's from a year ago or November, not quite a year ago. And I agree with the article too. Is as I was using ChatGPT in the beginning, it almost felt like it wanted to make me happy. Okay, it wanted me to be right, and it was rah 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 cheerleader. But even when I was wrong, and that was the problem. So I read this article and I'm like, hey, this is a great article. We should make a social media post about it. So using that, and what happened to my thing? It was right there.
Oh, your prompt?
There we go. I think it's here.
There you go.
So this already ran, but let's just do a new chat there. Okay, so there's the URL that I just showed you about AI wanting to make you happy. So a simple prompt: make a Facebook post for me. Read the article in the URL below. Use the information to write the post.
Hold on,
Okay,
don't press send yet.
sure.
Don't press send yet. What uh I guess, how do you want it to look? Do you want it to be like, do you agree with what you read or not agree? Or do you want it to just give facts?
Well, you're definitely correct in your assumption here. I wanted to keep it simple for the example, and that's the right point. Because right now, ChatGPT it's a 3-year-old. It's going to do what I tell it to. So it's just going to make a Facebook post based on what's in this article. So if the article is positive, the post is going to be positive. If it's negative, the post is going to be negative. It should
And
just
that's
read
the
it and
bias.
go. Exactly. So here, um, so let's add that. Make it such language is not my first language. Make
So
it
make it,
such that
do you want it
it
to just go
positive
ahead?
with the author's view. And I'm going to misspell it on purpose because
That's fine.
just in time. It's going to understand the misspelling, which is great for someone like me who misspells all the time. So we're going to make it positive with the author's view. Okay. And so it's going to go out, read it, one of the most, and it made a post. And it did something probably because I have it trained, it automatically gave me um, hashtags, which is kind of cool. So I could simply copy, paste, I'm done. Read it over. Please, human in the
Mhm.
middle, read over what you're about to post because you don't know how many times I've made that mistake and other people have made the mistake where they just post, copy, paste, copy. Well, it did it for me. It must be right. Side tangent.
Yeah.
Lawyer
Yeah.
recently got disbarred and fined because he used AI to create his briefs, and there was over
Brief.
50
Hmm.
times that his AI cited things that didn't exist.
That part. Also,
Read
you
what you're
want to read
posting.
it and make sure you read the article. Like you want to know what the article says, because if you don't and you just say make it positive and then you read it, you have no idea if it's doing what you told it to do, if you need to retrain it or not.
Yeah. So I'm just going to briefly touch on what ChatGPT did based on just, this simple prompt here. One of the important conversations happening around AI is now AI right now isn't about how powerful it's becoming, it's about whether we can trust it. This article from CNET, this is great, but I trained it early to cite things. AI systems often are often rewarded for giving answers people like, not necessarily answers that complete that are completely accurate. AI doesn't know facts the way humans do. Da, da, upside, da, 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 da. Okay, so now let's do that same prompt again. Make it in such that it
Disagrees with the author's
disagrees
views.
with the author's view. And I'm still misspelling authors. Okay, so now it's going to go out. AI is not a human being with motives, opinions, or intent. It's a tool trained to predict the bigger issues that people are expecting AI to function like it's all knowing. We don't call Google a liar because the search result is wrong. We don't call a calculator deceptive because somebody typed in the wrong formula. So it's still taking the essence of the article, but it twisted it a little bit and isn't blaming AI. It's, if I'm reading this through real quickly, it's blaming the user. Same article. It's just we told it, the human being told the artificial intelligence, hey, I want it to be this way. I want it to be that way. And
But it still
this
gave it a positive spin, even though I
it,
disagreed with the author.
it kind of did. It kind of did. But
So
you
it's doing exactly what the author was saying.
because it knows me, right? It knows me too.
Now,
But
how would
go
you
ahead.
take this? Sorry, I don't mean to be Russian, but I know we've got like
No, no,
15
no.
minutes. Um, how would you take this information and create an image to accompany on your social media?
Okay. So that's a good one, and I have tools now that automate all this entire process. But yes, in the beginning, hey, make me a social media post. Okay, now that we have the post, okay, now create an image for me that would fit well with this Facebook post. Keep it simple, no text in the image. I do find, at least with ChatGPT, I haven't put all the models through their, you know, uh, what do you call it? Through the hoops, through the cycle to test everything. But ChatGPT, when you're creating images and you want to put text on the image, it fails so many times and spellings, etc., that I just say don't put any text on an image. I'll bring it in to a editor and put text myself because it's
Also,
been
it's
too
easy to put
painful.
text. Yeah, and also it's easy to
Okay.
put text on Facebook or Instagram or wherever you're going to post it. The text overlay is so much easier doing it that way. Or if you really, really, really want to, you can do like Canva or something like that to create the text. So,
Yes,
oh,
and not to scare people off, but you can connect your Chat GPT, your Claude to Canva. But hey, that's an advanced subject we'll talk about later. So yeah, this image looks pretty good, and then you can just simply, oh, this is new. I haven't come across. Copy the link. Like, oh wow, wait, what are we doing here?
yeah, they upgraded. I told you. When they
Yeah, because
added codecs, they
yeah,
upgraded.
wow, yeah, because I'm only used to this little button here, download. So Anyways, it's a good image. We'll download it. Okay. So, anyways, that's how easy it is to create a post. And there's many things out there, RSS readers. One of the websites that I like is Feedly, where it will just give me a list of topics that I'm interested in and give me those articles, those news articles, those URLs. And then that's why I came up with a prompt. And the prompt I have is much more sophisticated than just make me a Facebook post based on the URL. But this is just a very simplistic way, just one very simplistic way of utilizing ChatGPT, because everybody creates posts.
Absolutely. I did something a little different when the other day I was trying to, let's see if I can share my screen. The other day I was trying to decide, I want to do a presentation at my day job talking about how AI has been placing workers and stuff like that. And I needed it to, I asked it how many jobs have been disrupted by AI from 2022 to 2025. And I asked it to cite its sources. And so it gave me all of these things, and that was fine and dandy, but it wasn't necessarily what I was trying to get to, or at least the meat of the matter. Um, it because the prompt was too broad, like I didn't talk about actual jobs that were cited by companies saying AI is the reason why. It gave me a whole conglomerate based off of different people talking, different places that it looked at to decide where to pull the information from. And it didn't necessarily give me what I wanted. So I kind of tried to reform the question. And I told it, okay, I meant projected displacement, exposure to AI, or documented layoffs blamed on AI. So the different companies that said, when they gave their press release, this is why, not an assumption, not what other people are talking about, but documented cases of job loss. And then it gave me this. Here's the information it gave based off of this particular um, URL. And so I went ahead and went to that URL to see what it was talking about, because I don't know who Challenger Gray and Christmas is. So I really wanted to see who these people were and how they claim to know this information. And I guess it's one of those like polling companies. They go through and they take these polls and they ask different companies, um, kind of like a Gallup poll, stuff like that. If you understand like political polling and stuff like that, Gallup will be one of those places that you'll understand. But they did a whole report with tables. So I went ahead and read that and was like, okay, that was more trustworthy than um, having something on the internet somewhere that someone said. So I like the fact that being that I asked it to cite its sources, it did the job. Um, there was nothing clean about 2026 information just yet in 2025. But here, based off of that same Gallup, that same Challenge Gray and Christmas poll, it gave me the remainder of the numbers. And then it went through the internet and picked up information from the different companies that said that they were laying off people and why they were laying them off. Forbes did the same thing. This one was all over the internet last month about how Oracle on a Friday laid off $30,000 employees. And if you were off that Friday, you didn't see that until Monday until you tried to log in. It was wild. And they just sent out an email saying, you know what, sorry, we don't need y'all anymore. So yeah, it will do the research if you can ask it to do it correctly. And as long as you, like I said, go back and look at the sources that it has cited, you can get the most up to date, the most accurate information. I don't always look at Wikipedia because you can always change Wikipedia information. I do like Forbes. I do like The Guardian. Investopia is also a good one because wherever people are putting their money, that's where they're putting their information. That's where they're putting their knowledge. What do you think, Richard?
No, I think I get back again in the early stages of my involvement with ChatGPT. Um, I basically got to a point where I had to train it to say, if you don't know the answer, then tell me you're not sure. Just don't give me an answer and then, because it would give me an answer and I go, oh, okay, I'm supposed to click on that button. And then I click on the button and it's like, that's not what I wanted. Or,
Exactly.
it
Mm-hmm.
hallucinated and so I finally had to like, you know, if you're not sure the answer, then tell me you're not sure. Tell me, I
Right.
think this is the right answer, but I can't find reference that that is 100% correct
I
because
had to teach mine to not be racist. I used to tell mine all the time, stop being racist.
yeah, so that's one of the things you should train your account that, hey, if you're not sure, don't give me the information, or at least tell me, hey, I'm only partially sure. I believe this is the right answer, but I couldn't validate it. And that would be the other thing is I'm especially with reference material or stuff that needs to be 100% correct on that first draft. Because remember, AI, you should treat what AI is giving you, any document that it outputs, that's your first draft. That is not your final. Turn this in. Excuse me, human in the middle again. But that first draft, I would often say, hey, write this up for me, da 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 da. Cite your references. Just like if you were in college where you had to, footnote,
Hmm.
section at the end. I got this information from here, just like you were showing on the screen, D. And that way, if you can't cite your references, then either one, you're wrong, don't put it in, or tell me, hey, I think this is correct, but I couldn't figure it out. So that at least I know, hey, here's an area that I may want to leave off of the document or go try to research it again. Maybe instead of with
Exactly.
Chat GPT, I'll go use Gemini, or I'll go use Claude, or I'll use a different model within one of those services that's a has that's designed specifically for referencing things. So
Perplexity is a big one.
I haven't gotten to
Perplexity is
that
a
yet,
big.
but
That's the biggest one for that I like to use for research
mhm.
because it's already built in to the model to cite its sources. Um,
Yeah,
yeah. Go ahead.
and one of the other things I remember, because when you're training your AI, you're being trained as well. You're being trained to figure out how to talk to it, what to say, what not to say, and I was getting frustrated in the real beginning because it says, I need a blue widget. Okay. And said, oh, okay, we'll make you a blue. Hey, would you like that, with a gold border? And I'm being very facetious here. Yeah, yeah, let's do that. Okay. And then would you like it this way? Yeah, yeah, let's do that. And then you like it this way? Yes, yes, yes. And would you like it outputted as a PDF? Yeah, 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 yeah. I can't do that because what you asked for doesn't exist as a PDF. You can't output, that EPS file. I'm trying to think of an example, but it would give you so many options. Well, let's take that and do this. And let's take that and do that. And then when you want the final product, it goes, what you just told me to doesn't exist. You can't do that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, why did you tell me if I wanted it that way then? And I'm
Well,
like, ah.
it also sometimes depends on if it's hooked up. There are connectors on the back end, which is something that I think I should
Yeah.
show the back end of Chat. So if you go down, as you can see, I have a plus model. I pay for my Chat GPT every month. And for me, it is necessary because when you look on the back end, you can decide how you want your information used. So I go to data controls, and automatically, I'm not trying to improve the model for everyone because I don't want my intellectual property to be utilized and just pasted everywhere, right? I want to be able to delegate the amount of information that I am allowing ChatGPT to share with other folks. Usually, I will have this turned off. I had it turned on earlier because I was trying to create a post that had to do with the Pacific Northwest, and I wanted to make sure that it gave me the correct information based off of my location. Um, I could manage in the links that I want to share. I can archive chats. I could delete all my chats. And if I decided I didn't want to use ChatGPT anymore, I could export my data onto a hard drive and then delete my delete all of the stuff in my ChatGPT and then move it somewhere else if I wanted to. I have my security controls, which are on the back end. I use the Authenticator app because a couple of weeks ago, I felt like my phone was being hacked. I was doing something, and then all of a sudden, my phone just started talking in another language. And I didn't have access to make any changes. I had to like shut it completely down and then turn it back on. So that was just me. So I've been doing stuff like that. I have ways that I could schedule different things to run in on the back end, which takes tokens. So think about that. I have personalized my stuff. I want the characteristics to be warm, enthusiastic. Um, I can use emojis if I want. I asked for the base tone to be efficient because I don't want a bunch of fluff. And then I also gave it custom instructions on the back end. When you, I also have it calling me Madam Six Figure Winner. Yeah, don't worry about it. That's how I want to be addressed. When you purchase your LLM, your large language model, whether it is Claude, whether it is ChatGPT, whether it is Copilot, you want to be able to make sure that you have control over the information that you're putting in, over the output, and how it's going to give you that information. So, whenever you're using it for business, I will always, always, always advocate paying so then that way you can determine how much information is you're leaking to the internets. What about you?
I'm sorry, I was getting ready to do something else here.
No worries. Do you
Um,
pay for all of your LLMs?
Currently, ChatGPT and Gemini, or ChatGPT and Claude, and since we're going to be doing a Gemini thing next month, I'll probably be turning that on as well. So,
Yeah. Cool. All right. Go ahead and try. What you got?
I'm going to share my entire computer here, or my entire computer screen, I should say, and hopefully nobody texts me anything incriminating right now. So you can see my screen. I apologize. I have a wide screen here. We can get rid of this so that it doesn't look like we're doing anything. Okay, I'm logged in there. That's Chat GPT. Okay, so um, well, that's not good. Let's go back up. Stop sharing. So there we go. So I have this little digital recorder, right? And it's just simple. You press the button, you start recording, and you can talk into it. I used it when I was consulting with my last business, and I would literally have it sitting on a tripod on a desk, interviewing clients, right? Talking about their problems and stuff. And it's a digital file. And then I would go back to the hotel when I was done for the day, plug in that little micro USB card in there, download the digital file, and then I would hear it and I would start, and I would manually do the typing and type up my notes for the day, what was being said and who said what and so forth. there are products out there right now that will give you a digital recorder, sometimes the size of like a little credit card that you can put on the back of your phone, that will do this, and they'll record all the time. And then you bring it back and it runs the AI and so forth, which is great. But all of them charge a monthly fee. And I'm like, time out here. Why am I going to pay monthly for my own notes? So I decided to create something.
In
So right,
ChatGPT?
yes, in ChatGPT. And so before, I
Awesome.
just want everybody to see a little branding going on right now. So
Also, we're over time by 20 seconds, so you got 60 seconds to go, bro.
we're gonna go over here. So I apologize, but this is coolness at its best. So I have a little button here on my Stream Deck, and I press it, and it's going to go ahead and launch, open up some. It's going to open up Mac Whisper. It's a Mac only program. There's other Windows programs, and here are the audio files. Okay, and I'm just that were originally on that recorder. And I'm simply going to drop it into Mac Whisper. Now Mac Whisper knows to look at this folder, and it's queuing them up right
So
now. And
what you're sharing is the screen of
whoops.
us. We don't see where you're.
Well, that sucks, doesn't it? So let's go back. Let me reset.
You might want to stop sharing, then reshare.
Yeah, I'll do it in a second here. Okay, so those were the Zoom and those were the text files. Okay, we'll move it to the trash. Do it there. Okay, there. So I don't know what just happened here because I'm sure I just stopped sharing. Share the screen. I want to share the entire screen. Did you take it back and I wasn't paying attention? Okay, so now you can see my entire desktop, right?
Yep.
Okay, so we'll clear everything off so you see it for the first time. So I have a little button on my Stream Deck. Love it. Not going to explain it. So there's a button that I literally press and it automates everything. Opens up Mac Whisper, which is what we're going to do to process the voice memos. Here's the audio files that I took from that recording, from that little digital recorder. And I'm just going to drop it over and over into my little folder. Third ding's a charm. And basically it processed all these files and created text. So these are all my notes for a particular day. So we're going to close that off. And here's my text files, right? Okay. And now what we're going to do, and I think I have this lit up. There's a prompt that I created to process my notes. And I have that automated as well. So I'm going to press another button and it's going to open up ChatGPT for me. It's going to copy and paste the prompt that I was talking about that says, there's just, the, just, processing, you're processing a raw voice note transcript, And so all I have to do now is take my text files for the day, drop it in here, and run this prompt. And there it goes. And now I have it trained to give the date, the week of the year, a summary, and all the things that I was chatting about. And I don't know how much is proprietary, so I'm going to stop there. But then I'll copy and paste. Let me stop. I will then copy the text that ChatGPT processed for the day and paste it into a document and then save that document, save that text file. So we have, I'm, maybe I'm in the car or out about and, don't forget that we need to order Scale Evolution coffee mugs or business cards or whatever, or, have this great idea. And now I use the digital recorder to capture it. At the end of the day, then I process those notes, save it as a file. Sometimes if I want to, I'll go ahead and then from that create my to-do list. And right now I'm doing it manually. In the future, I'm going to have it automated through Notion. Then once a week on Sunday, which happens to be today, then I'll take all my process notes for the week and take those text files of notes for the week and then dump it into a weekly and then have ChatGPT give me a weekly update to what was I talking about this week. And on Monday, did I say you need business cards? And on Wednesday, you need business cards. And Friday, don't forget your business. And then it's going to come up at the end of the week and say, get the freaking business cards done. Or here are your bottlenecks. Or here's what you're wasting your time with. And so I do that once a week. And I haven't gotten to the monthlies yet. I could do monthlies, but I think I'm going to wait to even do it quarterly. And the idea here is now my thoughts, by just speaking them into here, are creating kind of my roadmap and what I'm doing and how fast I'm doing it, how slow I'm doing it, so that I have a little paragraph at the end that comes back and gives me a reality check. Hey, Richard, check yourself. Stop wasting your time here. Start doing here's the big thing that you need to be doing. So hopefully that made sense. I know that was really, really quick. Maybe one of these days I'll actually do a session and walk through everything, because all you need is a digital recorder. And if you got ChatGPT or one of the other AIs, it's just a matter of creating the prompt.
Awesome. That's dope. I cannot wait for that class.
Yeah.
All right. So we have come to time, everyone. I want to respect everyone's time. We were a little over, so thank you for staying on with us. If you have any questions, put them in the chat. If not, send them to us at Scale Evolution. So then that way we can refer back and get you the answers that you've sent us, and help any way that we can. Also, keep in mind that we're doing this again 2 weeks.
Yeah, actually, let's go over that real quick. I can probably should put this up on the screen real quick. Screen share window. Meeting.
Because we're going to be talking about
Well, I do want to get this out here. So if you simply go to Scale Evolution, our website here, there's a right at the top, the AI Clarity Hub. You can go ahead and click on that, and that gives you a list of what is happening. So right now we're doing Claude, okay, and next month on June 7th we're going to be doing an AI breakdown on Gemini. And then in July, we're going to be doing it on Claude. And just a plug here, I'm doing a live in-person 4-week workshop for those people that really have no experience with AI and they want to know what AI is and how to use it. And we're going to go really slow, step by step, because you're probably already using it today and you just don't realize it. So that's going to be every Monday in August. And just again, go to our homepage and click on the AI Clarity Hub. All the information's there. We just got approval and all the technical stuff behind it, so you can register. I'll be opening this up probably on Tuesday or probably tomorrow during the holiday. So you'll have the information about how to register for the class. Space is limited, so we can only have 35 people in the classroom, but I'm going to talk to the people and see if we can open it up to a virtual session as well. You won't have the interaction that we are right now, but at least you'll be able to hear what's happening in case you can't physically come to Oregon City. So there you go.
And just FYI, I also will be doing a workshop, and I'll be talking about responsible AI and culture, just so that it's not working.
Yeah, you're kind of locking up. So start over again.
Oh, okay. I will also be doing a workshop regarding responsible AI and how to utilize AI governance, culture, and equity, that intersection of equity and technology, to make sure that we're utilizing these tools correctly without harming communities that we serve and communities like ours. And you can go to my name, DeGandhiHarris.com, to find information about that.
Great.
Okay. Well, thank you all so much for joining us this
Yeah.
Sunday afternoon. We really appreciate your time, and get at us if you got questions. We might be able to use it on the next workshop that we do.
Wonderful. We'll see you next month when we go over Gemini. Bye.
Bye.